I'm Sadie, 31, perched on my porch in a quiet Indiana town, rocking my daughter to sleep under a sky fading to purple. Fireflies wink like tiny sparks, and the air carries the scent of cut grass and the promise of rain. Lila's soft breaths warm against my chest, steady my heart, her small hand curled around my finger, her lashes fluttering in sleep. Years ago, at 24, I was pregnant, naive, and lost in love with Caleb, a man whose crooked smile and easy promises painted a future I believed in. One night he stood in my apartment, threw crumpled bills in my face, laughed, and told me to leave town, his words sharp as shattered glass, cutting deeper than I thought possible. That betrayal left scars, but I rebuilt, stitching together a life I'm proud of, one step at a time. Then years later we met again, and his smug grin returned bold and careless until he faced the consequences of his choices. I've carried that pain, but I've also carried myself forward stronger than I knew. Have you ever had to rebuild after someone broke your trust? Share your story below. And if this resonates, please like or subscribe to join me on this journey. It's 2016, and I'm 24, living in a cramped apartment above a laundromat in a forgotten Midwestern town. The air hums with the churn of dryers below their rhythm, seeping through the floorboards, mingling with the faint scent of detergent that clings to my clothes, my hair, my hopes. I'm a waitress at the diner down the street, my sneakers squeaking on the checkered floor as I weave through tables, balancing trays of coffee and pie, my apron pocket heavy with tips I save for a future I can almost touch. Caleb. My boyfriend is a mechanic. His hands always smudged with grease, his voice warm as he talks about opening his own shop. We spend nights driving back roads in his rattling pickup, the radio crackling with old country tunes, the stars so bright they feel like they're watching us. He talks about a little house, a porch swing, kids chasing each other in the yard, and I hang on every word, my heart full of his promises. Last month he gave me a silver promise ring, cheap, but polished its edges, catching the dim light of my apartment when I tilt my hand. It's tight, pinching my finger, but I wear it like a vow, proof we're building something real. One evening after my shift, we're crammed into a diner booth, sharing a vanilla milkshake, the straws bumping as we sip the glass, sweating in the humid air. Caleb's talking big, his eyes bright as he describes a garage with his name in bold letters, tools gleaming on the walls. A life we'll build together. I lean across the table, my chin in my hands, picturing myself there, maybe with a baby on my hip, cheering him on as he grows his dream. You're my good luck, Sadie, he says, his fingers brushing mine, his touch warm and sure. My heart feels too big for my chest, like it might burst. But Harper, my best friend since high school, isn't convinced. She's wiping down the counter, her dark hair pulled tight in a ponytail, her eyes flicking to Caleb as he scrolls his phone, his thumb moving too fast. She's always been blunt, the kind of friend who'd tell you your dress is ugly before you leave the house, saving you from embarrassment. When Caleb steps outside for a call, his voice muffled through the diner's glass door, she slides into the booth, her apron crinkled, her hands restless. Sadie, she says, her voice low, almost urgent, he's on that phone too much. Work doesn't call at 10 at night. I laugh, twirling the ring, its weight grounding me against her doubt. He's just busy, Harper. You're paranoid. Her frown deepens, her fingers tapping the table, her eyes searching mine like she's trying to pull me back from an edge I can't see. Guys like him, they talk a good game. Just watch yourself, okay? Her words linger sharp and unwelcome like a pebble in my shoe. Later, alone in my bed, the laundromat's hum vibrating through the thin walls. I stare at the ceiling, shadows dancing from a streetlight outside. My fingers trace the ring's sharp edges, its pinch a small pain I ignore. Caleb's been taking more late calls, muttering about work or friends, his answers vague, slipping away when I press. I tell myself it's nothing, that I'm overthinking, that love means trust. I close my eyes, picturing our future, a picket fence, a nursery with soft yellow walls, his hand in mine as we watch our kids play. But Harper's warning burrows deeper. A splinter I can't dig out, and as I drift to sleep, the mattress creaking under me, doubt creeps in, whispering that my perfect picture might be cracking. The next morning my stomach churns, and it's not the diner's burnt coffee or the greasy hash browns I serve. I'm 2 weeks late. I'm standing in the drugstore, the fluorescent lights. Harsh their buzz loud in my ears as I clutch a pregnancy test, my hands trembling like leaves in a storm. The cashier, a girl I vaguely remember from high school, scans the box with a look that feels like pity, and I shove it into my purse, my face burning as I hurry out. Back in my apartment, I lock the bathroom door, the linoleum cold under my bare feet, the air stale with humidity. I sit on the tub's edge, my pulse hammering, staring at the stick like it holds my future. Two pink lines bloom stark against the white plastic, and my breath catches. I'm pregnant. Joy floods me, warm and overwhelming like sunlight breaking through clouds. But fear follows, sharp and cold, a shadow I can't shake. I picture a tiny face, maybe with Caleb's hazel eyes, and I'm already in love, but my hands shake as I imagine telling him. All day I'm a mess at the diner, spilling coffee on a customer's lap, mixing up orders, my mind elsewhere. During my break, I slip to the corner store buying ground beef and potatoes, planning Caleb's favorite meatloaf dinner to soften the news. At home, I chop onions until my eyes sting, the knife slipping in my sweaty hands. I set the table with mismatched plates, their edges chipped from years of use, and light a single candle, its flame flickering in the dim light, casting shadows on the peeling walls. I'm nervous, my hands smoothing my apron over my jeans, imagining him pulling me close, his smile wide as he says, "We'll be a family." The clock ticks past 8, then 9, each minute stretching. The meatloaf's cold, the candle dripping wax onto the table when he finally walks in, his jacket slung over his shoulder, phone glowing in his hand, his eyes barely meeting mine. "Hey," I say, forcing a smile, my voice thin as I gesture to the table. "I made dinner. Got something big to tell you." He grunts, distracted, slumping into a chair, his boots scuffing the floor. I sit across from him, my heart pounding like a drum in my chest. "Caleb, I'm pregnant," I blurt, my hands clasped tight, knuckles white. His fork freezes midair, his eyes narrowing, his face shifting from blank to something hard, like I've dropped a bomb in his lap. What he says, his voice flat, almost annoyed, the word heavy in the quiet. "This isn't the right time, Sadie." My stomach lurches like I've missed a step on a staircase. I expected nerves, maybe shock, but not this coldness, not this wall between us. "We can make it work," I say, my voice breaking barely above a whisper. "We talked about kids, a future." He leans back, the chair creaking under his weight, and rubs his temples, his sigh heavy with irritation. "A future. Now I'm trying to build something, Sadie. A kid's gonna ruin everything." His words land like stones, heavy and sharp, each one bruising my heart. I stare at him, searching for the man who called me his good luck, but he's gone, replaced by this stranger with cold eyes. "You don't mean that," I whisper, my throat tight, tears threatening. He looks away, his jaw clenched, the candle's light catching the stubble on his face. "Just take care of it, okay?" The words are a knife twisting deep. The candle flickers, its flame weak, and I feel like I'm sinking, the dream I held so tight crumbling in my hands. The next day at the diner, I'm a wreck, dropping a plate of eggs that shatters on the floor, forgetting orders, my hands shaking as I pour coffee. Sheila. My coworker notices, her weathered hands pausing as she refills a customer's mug. She's older, with a smoker's rasp and a son in college, her eyes sharp but warm, like she's seen it all. During our break, we're out back in the alley, the air thick with grease and cigarette smoke, the dumpster's stench sharp in my nose. "You okay, hun?" she asks, exhaling a thin stream of smoke, her voice rough but kind. I hesitate, my fingers twisting the hem of my apron, then spill it all, the test. Caleb's reaction, the fear clawing at me. She listens, nodding, her eyes softening. "I was 19 when I had my boy," she says, flicking ash onto the gravel. "His dad bailed too. You're tougher than you know, Sadie, even if it doesn't feel like it." Her words are a lifeline, but they don't fill the void Caleb's carved in me, a hole that grows with every unanswered call. I keep hoping he'll change his mind, that he'll show up with that crooked smile and make it right. I call him, my voicemails piling up, each one more desperate, but he's always working late, his voice distant when he bothers to answer. At night, I lie awake, my hand on my stomach, imagining a heartbeat I can't yet feel, the darkness pressing in. I tell myself he's just scared that he'll see the future. I see a family, a home. But Harper's warning grows louder, and the ring on my finger feels like a chain, heavy with a promise I'm starting to doubt. I'm holding on to a dream that's slipping, and the fear of losing it is suffocating, pulling me under with every sleepless night. I'm 3 months pregnant. My mornings a blur of nausea and diner shifts, the smell of frying bacon twisting my stomach until I have to run to the bathroom. I push through scrubbing tables until my arms ache, the bleach-soaked rag stinging my cracked hands, its sharp scent burning my nose. My apartment's a mess. Dishes piled in the sink, laundry spilling from a basket onto the floor, a chaos that mirrors my mind. Caleb's been a ghost, dodging my calls, his excuses flimsy as the thin walls of this place. I'm still wearing that silver ring, its edges biting into my swollen fingers, a cruel reminder of a promise that feels more like a lie. I tell myself I'll take it off tomorrow, but tomorrow never comes, and the weight of it grows heavier each day. I'm folding tiny onesies on my bed, their soft fabric a small comfort when I decide to try again. My fingers tremble as I dial Caleb, my voice steady, despite the knot in my chest tight as a fist. "We need to talk," I say when he picks up his sigh, loud and impatient through the phone like I'm a chore. "About the baby. About us." He groans, his voice sharp with irritation. "Sadie, I told you I'm not ready. You're making this harder than it needs to be." My throat burns, tears pricking my eyes. "You promised me a life, Caleb," I say, my voice cracking like dry wood. "You said we were in this together." He snaps back, his tone cold and final. "You think I planned this? You're trying to trap me." The word trap lands like a punch, stealing my breath. I'm the one carrying his child, working double shifts to keep the lights on my body aching from the weight of it all. I hang up my hands, shaking, and sink onto the bed, clutching a onesie with yellow ducks, its softness mocking my pain. I want to scream, but I hold it close, picturing my baby's tiny kicks, a life I already love. I'm not trapping anyone. I'm just trying to hold on. Harper comes over that night, balancing greasy takeout bags, her face tight with worry, her eyes searching mine as we sit on my sagging couch. We're eating burgers, the paper wrappers crinkling when she pauses, setting her food down, her hands restless. "Sadie." I heard something, she says, her voice low, almost guilty, like she's breaking bad news. "I was at the gas station, and Caleb was there on his phone laughing. He said he dodged a bullet with you." My heart stops, the burger heavy in my hand, grease smearing my fingers. "What?" I whisper, my voice barely there, the room tilting around me. Harper hesitates, her eyes soft with regret. "He was talking to some woman." I couldn't hear much, but it wasn't work. My pulse roars in my ears, the world narrowing to a pinprick. I grab my phone, dial Caleb, my hands trembling like they're not mine. "Were you at the gas station talking about me?" I ask, my voice shaking, barely holding together. Saying, "You dodged a bullet." There's a long pause. Then his laugh, cold and sharp, slicing through me. "You spying on me now? Harper needs to mind her own business." He doesn't deny it. I hang up, tears burning my cheeks, the burger forgotten on the table, its smell turning my stomach. I pace the apartment, the laundromat's hum rattling my bones, a relentless drone that matches my spiraling thoughts. Harper tries to calm me, her hands on mine, but I'm too angry, too hurt, my voice breaking as I speak. "He's lying to me," I say, "and I'm here pregnant, believing in him." She squeezes my hands, her grip firm. "You deserve better, Sadie. You and that baby." Her words are kind, but they don't ease the raw ache tearing through me. I touch my belly, feeling a faint flutter, the first sign of my baby moving, a tiny spark of life. It's real now, and I'm terrified I'll face it alone, the weight of Caleb's betrayal crushing me piece by piece. The air's thick with summer heat, my fan rattling uselessly in my apartment, barely stirring the heavy stillness. I'm 4 months pregnant, my belly starting to show under my loose shirts, but I feel smaller than ever, curled on the couch, staring at my silent phone. Caleb's laugh from last night echoes his cruel dismissal, a bruise I can't stop pressing his words replaying like a broken record. I can't keep living in this fog of his lies, not with a baby growing inside me. Against every instinct screaming to stay away, I pull on my frayed sneakers, their laces worn thin, and drive to his duplex across town, the streetlights casting long shadows on the cracked pavement, the air heavy with the smell of gasoline and dust. His truck's parked, crooked its dented bumper glinting under a flickering lamp. I knock my heart pounding so hard it hurts, each beat echoing in my ears. Caleb opens the door, reeking of beer, his eyes red and bleary, his flannel shirt untucked. "What do you want, Sadie?" he slurs, leaning against the frame, his body blocking the doorway, his presence looming. I swallow my throat dry, my voice steady despite the storm raging inside. "I want to know why you're lying. Who were you talking to at the gas station?" He rolls his eyes, stepping closer, his breath sour and warm, making my stomach churn. "You're obsessed," he says, his voice low and mocking. "I'm not your property." I clench my fists, the ring digging into my palm, its sharp edge a reminder of my own blindness. "I'm carrying your child, Caleb," I say, my voice trembling but firm. "That means something." He laughs, a harsh barking sound that cuts through me like a blade, and turns back inside, grabbing a handful of crumpled bills from a cluttered table littered with empty cans. He shoves them at me, some fluttering to the ground like dead leaves, their edges curling in the dim light. "Here's $500, he says, his voice cold as ice. "Get it done and get out of town. You really thought I'd give up everything for you." My breath catches the world, tilting, my vision blurring as tears burn my eyes. I stare at the money scattered at my feet, my hands frozen, unable to move. "You don't mean that?" I whisper, my voice barely audible, breaking under the weight. He slams the door, the sound echoing in my chest like a gunshot, leaving me alone on his porch. I drive home, tears blurring the road, the streetlights smearing into streaks of light. I collapse on my bed, the stack of baby clothes in the corner staring at me, their bright colors mocking my pain. Ralph, my landlord, slipped a note under my door, his handwriting sharp and unforgiving. "Rent's late 1 week, or I'm out." The words swim on the page, my hands shaking as I read them. I can't lose this place. Not now, not with a baby coming. I call Harper, sobbing, my voice raw, but she's frustrated, her tone sharp through the phone. "You need to let him go, Sadie. You're worth more than this." It feels like a lecture, her words cutting rather than comforting, and I hang up angry, alone, the silence deafening. The next morning, I find a bag of groceries outside my door. No note. Just Gwen, my neighbor with a toddler of her own, offering quiet kindness. It breaks me more, her generosity a mirror to my own fragility. I start writing letters to my baby, promising I'll be enough, my pen scratching the paper. But Caleb's words drown them out, loud and cruel. I'm not enough for him. The weight of that truth is crushing, and I don't know how to keep going. It's a humid Friday night, my belly tight under a loose sweater, 4 months pregnant, the weight of it both grounding and heavy. I'm outside Rusty's bar, the neon sign buzzing like an angry wasp, its red glow painting the gravel lot in harsh light. My sneakers crunch on the stones as I pace, my heart racing so fast I feel dizzy, my breath shallow in the thick air. I shouldn't be here, but I need closure, need Caleb to face what he's done, to see me and this baby as real. He's been dodging me since that night at his duplex, and I'm done living in the haze of his lies. I push through the bar's heavy door. The air inside thick with cigarette smoke and stale beer, the jukebox wailing a mournful country tune that matches the ache in my chest. Caleb's in the corner laughing with his buddies, a bottle dangling from his hand, his grin careless like he owns the room. I weave through the crowd, my hands trembling, my sweater clinging to my skin, but my voice is steady when I call out Caleb, loud enough to cut through the noise like a knife. Heads turn, conversations fading, the room's energy shifting. He looks up, his grin faltering for a heartbeat, his eyes narrowing before the cocky smile returns sharp as ever. "Sadie, what are you doing here?" he says, sprawling in his chair, his tone dripping with annoyance like I'm a stray dog he wants gone. I step closer, my eyes locked on his. the room blurring around us, the smoke stinging my eyes. I'm done with your games, I say, my voice firm despite the tremor in my hands. You need to own up to this baby. To me. The bar quiets, eyes pinning me like spotlights. My pulse hammering in my ears. I'm exposed raw, but I won't back down, not now. He laughs, a cruel cutting sound that slices through me, echoing off the walls. Own up, you're pathetic, Sadie. You think I'm gonna play house with you? My chest tightens, my breath shallow, the words landing like blows. Before I can respond, a woman steps up from his table, tall with tight curls and a smirk, her jacket stitched with the name Piper in bold red thread. Who's this? She asks, eyeing me up and down like I'm something she stepped in. Caleb chuckles, slinging an arm around her, his touch casual, possessive. Just some girl who can't let go, he says, his voice thick with mockery, his eyes glinting with amusement. My stomach drops, a cold realization hitting like ice water. Piper's his girlfriend, and she doesn't even know I'm pregnant. I open my mouth to speak, my voice catching. But Piper cuts me off, her tone sharp as a blade, her arms crossed tight. You're embarrassing yourself, she says, her smirk growing, her words loud enough for the crowd to hear. Caleb told me about you. You're lying to get his money. The crowd murmurs some snickering, others whispering pity, their voices, a low hum that presses against me. My face burns, shame flooding every inch of my body, my hands shaking at my sides. I want to scream that I'm carrying his child, that he's the liar, but my throat locks tight, the words trapped behind a wall of hurt. Caleb leans forward, his eyes cold as winter, his beer bottle sweating in his hand. Go home, Sadie, he says, his voice low and final. Nobody believes you. The bar feels like it's swallowing me whole, the air heavy with sweat and judgment, Piper's words ringing in my ears like a slap that won't stop echoing. I'm frozen, my hand pressed to my belly. The small bump hidden but heavy under my sweater, a reminder of the life I'm fighting for. Caleb smirks, sipping his beer, the bottle clinking against the table as he sets it down. You heard her, Sadie? He says, his voice loud, mocking. You're making a fool of yourself. I choke out, my voice raw. I'm pregnant, Caleb. Your child. The room goes dead silent, the jukebox cutting off mid-song, leaving only the hum of the crowd, their eyes boring into me. Piper's face twists, her eyes darting to Caleb, her voice sharp with doubt. Is that true? She snaps her arms, uncrossing, her stance shifting. He doesn't blink, his face a mask of indifference. She's delusional, he says loud enough for everyone to hear his words, a knife twisting in my chest. Probably not even mine. The crowd erupts, some laughing, their chuckles sharp and cruel, others muttering sympathy. Their voices blending into a roar that drowns me. My knees wobble, my nails digging into the wooden table as I catch myself, the grain rough under my fingers. Sheila pushes through the crowd, her face flushed with anger, her apron stained from the diner. You're a damn liar, Caleb, she shouts, her voice trembling but fierce, her hands clenched. I've seen her crying over you. She's telling the truth. The bar splits, half jeering at me, half glaring at Caleb. But it's all noise, a chaotic blur that presses against my skin. I stumble toward the door, tears blurring my vision, the world tilting like a ship in a storm. The silver ring slips from my finger, clattering onto the sticky floor, its faint ping lost in the chaos. A small sound swallowed by the crowd's roar. I don't stop to pick it up. It's nothing now, just like his promises, worthless and broken. Outside, the humid air slaps my face, thick and suffocating, and I lean against the wall, gasping for breath, my hands pressed to my chest. My mother's voice echoes from a call yesterday, her tone sharp and blaming. You chose the wrong man, Sadie. You should have known better. She's right, and it burns, a fresh wound layered over the old. I'm alone, humiliated, my life unraveling before strangers in a smoky bar. My baby kicks a sharp, real jolt, but it's not enough to pull me back. I'm broken, my heart in pieces, and I don't know how to begin putting them together. I'm 6 months pregnant, my belly round and heavy, a constant reminder of the life growing inside me. I've left that dusty town behind, its pain and dust fading in the rear view, as I took a bus to a small Ohio city. I'm renting a room above a bakery now, the smell of fresh bread seeping through the floorboards each morning, a small comfort against the ache. That night at Rusty's stripped me bare, my heart torn open in front of a crowd, their laughter and pity echoing in my dreams. I cried for days, barely eating, my body heavy with grief and pregnancy, my eyes swollen from tears. But one morning I felt my baby move a flutter like a butterfly's wings, and it hit me. I couldn't let Caleb's cruelty define me. My child deserved better, a mother who fought, and so did I. So I packed a suitcase, the zipper catching on a torn seam, bought a bus ticket with my last few dollars, and started over, my heart bruised but beating. I'm in the community college office, my hands clammy as I sign up for a medical billing course. The air smelling of old paper and stale coffee, the fluorescent lights buzzing softly overhead. It's practical work, a steady job to build a future for my baby and me, something solid to hold on to. The clerk, a woman with graying hair and kind eyes, hands me a schedule, her smile warm. "You're brave for doing this now with a baby on the way," she says, her voice soft like she means it. I nod, my throat tight, fear gnawing at my insides like a hungry animal. I lost my diner job, too many missed shifts from exhaustion and morning sickness, and my savings are a thin stack of bills in a tin box under my bed. But I'm done waiting for Caleb to save me, done chasing his empty promises. I walk to the library down the street where I've landed a part-time job shelving books. The quiet stacks, a refuge from the world's noise, their shelves lined with stories that feel safer than my own. My first day. I'm sorting novels, the smell of old pages and dust calming my nerves, when Nora, a librarian, introduces herself. She's in her 40s with laugh lines etched deep, and a habit of tucking pencils into her messy bun, her glasses slipping down her nose. "You're new in town, aren't you?" she asks, her voice soft, like she's used to soothing frayed nerves. I nod, bracing for pity. My shoulders tense, but she smiles, handing me a cup of chamomile tea, its warmth seeping into my hands. "I raised my son alone after my husband left," she says, her eyes steady. No judgment. "You'll find your way, Sadie." Her words are a spark lighting something inside me I thought was gone, a flicker of hope I cling to. I study at night, my lamp casting a warm glow over textbook pages, my belly pressing against the table's edge, the wood cool under my arms. My room's small, the wallpaper peeling in corners, the window rattling in its frame when the wind picks up. I've taped my bus ticket stub to the wall, its edges curling, a reminder of the choice I made to leave. I'm not running from Caleb anymore. I'm running toward a life I can build, one he can't touch. Locals whisper about the pregnant girl with no husband, their eyes lingering at the grocery store, their voices low as I pass. I keep my head down, memorizing medical codes that feel like a secret language, each one a step, a brick in a foundation I'm laying for us. I'm scared, my heart racing at night as I think about the future, but I'm moving, and that's enough for now. My days settle into a rhythm, library shifts, college classes and late nights hunched over textbooks, my belly growing heavier, my feet swollen from standing. I'm 7 months pregnant, the Ohio winter creeping in, frosting my window with delicate patterns that catch the morning light. I'm exhausted, my back aching, my eyes burning from studying, but every step feels like defiance, a rebellion against Caleb's betrayal. I'm not just surviving, I'm fighting for my daughter, for the life we'll have. I've named her Lila in my mind, a name I found in a library book, soft and strong, like a promise I'm making to her, to myself. Harper shows up one afternoon, her boots crunching snow outside the bakery, her breath visible in the cold air. We haven't spoken much since our fight, when her frustration at my clinging to Caleb cut deep, her words sharp as thorns. She stands in my doorway, holding a bag of blueberry muffins, my favorite, her coat dusted with flakes, her eyes nervous. "I was wrong to rush you," she says, her voice soft, almost shy, her hands twisting the bag's handles. "I just couldn't stand seeing you hurt." I hug her, tears pricking my eyes, the warmth of her embrace pulling me back to our old selves. We sit on my bed, the mattress sagging, laughing like we did in high school, her stories about her new job at a flower shop filling the room with light. She meets Nora at the library later, and they click swapping tales of heartbreak and resilience over coffee, their laughter echoing through the stacks. Having Harper back feels like stitching a tear in my heart, making it whole again. At college, I'm starting to stand out, my focus sharp despite the exhaustion, my notes neat despite my trembling hands. But not everyone's kind. Grant, a guy in my class, mutters about single moms leeching off the system during a group project, his smirk like a jab, his voice low but cutting. I want to disappear, my cheeks burning, my hands gripping my pencil too tight. Nora's there, dropping off a stack of books, her glasses glinting as she overhears. She steps in, her voice calm but sharp as a blade. "Sadie's out working you, Grant. Maybe take notes." The room goes quiet, his smirk fading, and I sit taller, a spark of pride flickering in my chest. I'm not just a victim anymore, not in their eyes or mine. A week before Lila's due, Caleb texts out of nowhere, his words cold on my screen. "Can we talk?" No apology, no warmth, just a demand. My heart races, old wounds stinging raw as the day he threw money at me. But I'm not that girl anymore, begging for scraps of his love. I type back, my fingers steady, my breath slow. "Stay out of my life." I hit send, the phone heavy in my hand, and set it down, the silence in the room thick but calm. That night I pull out a notebook, its pages worn from use, and start a list of wins: passing my first exam, paying rent with my library check, buying Lila's crib with my own money, its wood smooth under my hands. I add today's telling Caleb no. I close the notebook, my hand resting on my belly. Lila's kick strong and sure, a rhythm that matches my heartbeat. I'm fighting for her, I'm also fighting for me, and that feels like a victory I've earned. It's 2023, and I'm 30, living in a modest house with Lila, who's 6, her dark curls bouncing as she races through our backyard, a patch of grass we call our own, dotted with dandelions she picks for me. I'm a medical billing specialist now. My days filled with spreadsheets and phone calls, the office's hum of printers and coffee machines, a steady backdrop. My nights are for Lila's bedtime stories, her favorite about a brave rabbit who outsmarts a fox, her eyes wide as I read. I've built a life from the ruins of Caleb's betrayal, each piece hard-won, like stones laid in a path I walk with pride. But today at the town festival, that path trembles. I'm at a face-painting booth, glitter dusting my hands, the air alive with laughter, the smell of fried dough and popcorn when I see him. Caleb, older but still smug, strutting through the crowd in a tailored jacket, a car dealer's logo stitched on his chest, his confidence sharp as a blade cutting through the festive noise. He spots me and saunters over, leaning on my booth, his grin sharp like he's never left. "Sadie," he says, his voice thick with condescension, still painting faces. "Guess some things don't change." My stomach twists, my hands pausing on a paintbrush, its bristles sticky with blue paint. I haven't seen him since I shut him out 3 years ago, before Lila was born, his text unanswered in my phone. I'm steady though, brushing glitter onto Lila's cheek, as she squirms, her giggles a lifeline in the storm he brings. "I'm doing fine," I say, my voice calm, but inside I'm bracing, my heart thudding like a drum. His eyes flick to Lila, and he laughs, a low, cruel sound that digs into me. "Cute kid. Dodged a bullet not getting stuck with you, huh?" My breath catches my fingers tightening around the brush paint smearing on my knuckles. Lila's holding a red balloon, chattering about cotton candy, oblivious to the storm in my chest, her voice bright against his darkness. I want to scream that she's his daughter, that he doesn't get to laugh, but I swallow it for her. "You should go," I say, my voice low, firm, my eyes steady on his. He chuckles, tossing $1 into my tip jar like it's a joke, the coin clinking against the glass. "Keep the change," he says, strolling off, his swagger untouched, his jacket, catching the festival lights. Nora at the booth next to mine catches my eye, her jaw tight, her hand squeezing my arm through my sleeve. "He's not worth your energy," she whispers, her voice a quiet anchor. But his words burn, rekindling a rage I thought I'd buried, a fire that threatens to consume me. I keep painting faces, my hands steady, the glitter catching the light, but my mind's a storm, swirling with his laughter, his cruelty. Lila tugs my sleeve, asking for a butterfly. Her eyes bright with trust, and I smile, brushing her hair back, my fingers gentle. She's my everything, and Caleb doesn't get to touch that, not with his words or his presence. But his being here, his arrogance feels like he's stepped into my world uninvited, tainting the life I've built. I glance at Nora, her eyes steady with quiet strength, and I know I'm not that broken girl anymore. But his laughter echoes a ghost I can't outrun, and I'm not sure how to keep him from cutting me again. The festival lights fade as I pack up the booth, my hands smudged with glitter, the air cooling as night settles in the scent of popcorn lingering. Lila's with Nora chasing fireflies, her laughter a faint melody across the field, her red balloon bobbing in the dusk. Caleb's dodged a bullet plays on a loop in my head, each word a fresh wound, sharp and deep. I'm wiping down the table, the cloth sticky with paint, when my phone buzzes a news alert lighting up the screen. Caleb's car dealership is under investigation for fraud. Something about doctored loan papers, the kind of thing he used to brag about. My heart skips, my fingers tingling as I grip the phone. I've kept his old texts, ones from years ago, where he boasted about cutting corners, thinking it made him sound clever, his words cocky and careless. They're buried in my email, forgotten but damning a digital trail of his arrogance. I walk home, Lila skipping beside me, her balloon bouncing, her chatter about the festival filling the quiet. I don't tell Nora, not yet. My mind racing, my thoughts a tangle of anger and possibility. At home, the house quiet. Except for the hum of the fridge, I sit at my kitchen table, the laptop's glow harsh against the dark casting shadows on the walls. I dig through my emails, my fingers trembling as I find those texts, his words stark on the screen, bragging about deals that skirted the law. My hands shake as I forward them to Reese, a reporter I met at the library, her card still tucked in my wallet, its edges worn from time. No message, just the evidence, raw and undeniable. My finger hovers over send, my chest tight, my breath shallow. This isn't about revenge. It's about justice for me, for Lila, for anyone he's hurt with his lies. I hit send, the click loud in the silence, a small sound that feels like a thunderclap. The next morning, Caleb's on my porch, his face red, eyes wild, his tailored jacket wrinkled, his hair disheveled. "You did this, didn't you?" he shouts, pacing, his voice shaking the quiet street, his boots scuffing the wood. "You sent those texts to ruin me." I stand in the doorway, Lila coloring at the table behind me, her crayons scratching softly, her world untouched by his anger. "You ruined yourself, Caleb," I say, my voice low, unshaken, my hands steady at my sides. "You chose this." He stops, his anger flickering, his eyes searching mine for a moment, but he says nothing, just stares, then turns and walks away, his steps heavy, his shoulders slumped. My mother calls later, her voice sharp through the phone, her words cutting. "That was petty, Sadie. You're better than that." Her judgment stings, a familiar ache, but I don't argue my silence, a choice I've earned. I'm done justifying my strength. I tuck Lila into bed, her face paint smudged, her eyes heavy with sleep. She asks about the mean man from the festival, her voice small, curious. I kiss her forehead, the scent of her shampoo grounding me, and say, "He's nobody important, sweetheart." But as I sit alone, the weight of what I've done settles in heavy but not crushing. The texts, the tip off Caleb's fall, it's real, and it's mine. I pull Lila's drawing of our house from my purse, my fingers tracing its crooked lines, the paper soft from being carried. It's all I have, and it's enough, but the silence in my chest is loud, a hollow echo I can't shake, a quiet that feels both heavy and free. It's 2024, and I'm 31, sitting on a park bench watching Lila, now 7, swing higher than ever, her laughter ringing through the spring air like a bell. The sun warms my face, the grass damp under my sneakers, the air sweet with blooming flowers. My job at the medical billing office gave me a promotion last month, a small raise that means new shoes for Lila and a bit of breathing room in our budget. Caleb's downfall feels like a distant storm, its thunder faded, its rain no longer soaking my days. I've built a life here solid, and mine each piece earned through nights of studying, mornings of rocking Lila through tears, days of showing up when I wanted to give up. I sip coffee from a thermos, its bitterness sharp, the park quiet, except for kids shouting in the distance, their voices carrying on the breeze like kites. Lila waves her gap-toothed grin bright, her ponytail swinging, and I wave back, my heart swelling, a warmth that fills the cracks Caleb left. I think about the years since I left that old town, the nights I studied until my eyes burned, my fingers cramped from typing codes. The mornings I rocked Lila through colic, her cries sharp in the dark, my own tears silent. I'm not the girl who begged Caleb to stay. My voice desperate, my heart tethered to his promises. I'm someone who chose herself, who kept going one small step at a time. Sheila texts, asking to catch up her visit to town, a rare gift, her name lighting up my phone like a familiar song. We meet at a cafe near the park, its windows fogged with steam, the smell of apple pie and coffee warm and sweet wrapping around us like a hug. Sheila's hair is grayer, her smile the same tough yet kind, her eyes crinkling as she laughs. Over pie, she tells me she left her toxic boyfriend last year, her voice steady but soft, her fork cutting through the crust with precision. Seeing you keep going, Sadie, it gave me courage, she says, her words catching me off guard, my fork pausing mid-bite, the crust crumbling on my plate. I never knew my fight meant something to her, that my quiet strength rippled outward. We talk about Lila's school, my job, her son's college graduation, the words flowing easy like a familiar river carrying us back to a shared understanding. Walking home, Lila's hand warm in mine, her fingers sticky from a lollipop, I feel a quiet strength like roots sinking deeper into the earth. Caleb's out there somewhere, but he's not my ghost anymore, not a shadow I fear. I'm still scared he might show up, especially now that his world's crumbling, but I'm not running, not anymore. Lila points at a robin hopping across the grass, its wings catching the light, its beak pecking at the earth, and I kneel beside her, our heads close, the world narrowing to this moment, this life, this love. It's enough. I'm not sure what's next, but for the first time I'm not afraid of it. My heart steady, my steps sure. The sun's dipping low, painting the sky orange as I stand in the community center, my palms damp, facing a small crowd. I'm here to speak about being a single mom. Part of an outreach event Nora put together, the room's walls lined with posters of community events. Lila's in the front row, swinging her legs, her eyes bright with pride, her hands clutching a juice box. Harper's beside her, flashing a thumbs up, her smile wide, her earrings catching the light. I take a deep breath, the room's quiet hum settling my nerves, the air smelling of polished wood and coffee. I share my story. Not the pain, not the nights I cried myself to sleep, but the strength I found after the quiet victories of raising Lila, of building a life. You don't need someone else to make you whole. I say, my voice steady, soft, but clear, carrying to the back of the room. The crowd nods, some eyes glistening, some hands scribbling notes, and I feel a weight lift like shedding an old heavy coat. After a woman approaches, her scarf loose around her neck, her voice gentle but curious, asking about Lila's dad. My chest tightens, a reflex, but I smile, my words calm, measured. He wasn't ready to be a father, and that's okay. We're enough. Lila runs up, hugging my legs, her warmth grounding me, her laughter a melody that drowns out the past. Later at home, Lila asks about him, her voice small, hesitant, her eyes searching mine as we sit on her bed. Was my dad nice? I kneel, meeting her gaze, my hand on her cheek, soft and warm. He gave me you. I say, my voice steady, and that's all that matters. She nods, satisfied, her smile small but real, and I tuck her in, her breathing soft as I close her door, the hallway dim and quiet. I step outside, the night cool, the stars sharp against the sky, their light steady and unyielding. I used to fear Caleb's shadow, dreading the weight of his betrayal, the way it clung to me like damp clothes. Now it's just a moment, not my life, not my story. I pull a small locket from my pocket, one I bought today at a small shop, its surface smooth, and slip a photo of Lila and me inside the clasp, clicking shut with a soft sound. It's simple, but it's ours, a small anchor in my hand. I hold it tight, the metal cool against my skin, and let out a slow breath, the air cool in my lungs. The world feels still, like it's holding its breath with me, waiting for what's next. I'm ready, my heart open, my steps light. It's 2025, and I'm 31, sitting on my porch in this quiet Indiana town, Lila asleep in my arms, her small body warm against me, her breaths steady as a metronome. The evening air is soft crickets, humming a faint breeze carrying the scent of blooming lilacs from a neighbor's yard. I'm not the girl I was at 24, shattered by Caleb's betrayal, chasing a dream that was never mine, my heart tethered to his empty promises. I heard last week his dealership closed its lot, empty, his name erased from the sign. He left town, humbled, his swagger gone. It didn't spark joy or tears. It just was a fact, as plain as the worn wood under my feet, the porch creaking softly as I rock. I've built a life here, steady and real, earned through years of small, hard-won steps. My mornings start early now, flipping pancakes for Lila, her chatter filling the kitchen as I pack her lunch, her drawings taped to the fridge. I drop her at school, her backpack bouncing, her laughter echoing as she runs to her friends. I head to work, my desk a mess of sticky notes and coffee mugs, the office alive with the hum of phones and keyboards. I'm good at my job. Respected, my colleagues nodding when I speak. Last year's promotion means we're saving for a summer trip, maybe to a lake, where Lila can try fishing, her eyes wide with wonder at the water's ripple. I've taken up running just a mile each morning, my sneakers pounding the pavement, the rhythm clearing my mind, the air sharp in my lungs. It's not about being flawless. It's about showing up day after day for her, for me. Harper visits sometimes, like tonight, sprawled on my couch with iced tea, her laughter bright as we talk about her new job, Lila's school play. The way life keeps unfolding, like a book we're writing together. She's family, not by blood, but by years of loyalty, her presence a comfort I lean into. We laugh about the time we tried baking cookies, the kitchen filling with smoke, our giggles louder than the fire alarm, the burnt smell lingering for days. Caleb's name doesn't come up anymore. He's a chapter closed, not erased, but not my story. I rock Lila gently, her breath warm against my neck, her small hand limp in mine. The stars are out bright against the dark, a quiet promise of tomorrow. I used to think I needed someone to fill the cracks he left, but here with my daughter's heartbeat against mine, I know I'm whole, my heart steady, my life enough. I carry Lila to bed, her small frame heavy with sleep, and tuck her under a quilt my mom sent last Christmas, its stitches uneven but warm, its colors soft in the dim light. I pause at her desk, where crayons are scattered like confetti, and pick up a drawing she made us holding hands under a big lopsided sun, its rays uneven but bright. It's messy, but it's ours, and I smile, pinning it to the fridge next to her other masterpieces, its edges curling slightly. I sit at my kitchen table, the house quiet, the clock ticking softly, its rhythm steady. I pull out a notebook, its pages worn from use, and start a letter to Lila, one she'll read when she's older, when she's ready to understand. I write about love, not the kind I chased with Caleb, blind and desperate, my heart tethered to his lies, but the kind that grows when you choose yourself, when you keep going despite the weight of the world. I used to think forgiving Caleb meant letting him off, excusing his cruelty, but now I see it's for me a way to release the anger that once defined me, a weight I no longer carry. I don't hate him, don't wish him well either. He's just a man who made choices, and I made mine, each one a step toward this life. I chose to study, my eyes burning under lamplight, to work my hands steady despite exhaustion, to build a home for Lila, its walls filled with her laughter. I chose her, my reason, but I also chose me, and that's what I want Lila to know. Your worth isn't in someone else's hands. It's in the quiet moments, tying your daughter's shoes, finishing a long shift, standing up when the world pushes you down. You are enough because you keep showing up, because you choose yourself. I close the notebook, my fingers brushing the locket I wear, the one with our photo inside its surface, smooth, a small weight that anchors me. The night outside is deep, the stars a quiet promise, their light steady against the dark. I'm not perfect, but I'm here, and that's enough. What's a moment that showed you your own strength? Share it below. And if this story moved you, please like, subscribe, or share to spread a little light. Thank you for listening, and here's to finding peace in your own journey.